Helldivers 2 recently hit us with a crazy big announcement, an announcement that I personally myself wasn't ready for. They gave us this message after the last major order. In response to the situation, the government of Super Earth had officially declared war on all agents of tyranny. All actions thus far have merely been special military operations. This galactic war on tyranny will not end until liberty is safe forever once again. So this is saying that up to this point, everything that we've been doing, all these major orders and everything else, have just been special military operations, basically just training exercises. So in my head, I'm wondering, is this just like almost just a pregame for them to test some things out, to get some things going, to see what they can come? Like, is this kind of like a beta of the Galactic War before we really move into the bigger picture here? I mean, it makes you wonder. We've been doing a lot of testing. We've been putting out a lot of content, pulling some content back. On top of this though, let me just go ahead and slap this information in here for you. The community manager right now, after 5 days of intense decommissioning of the automatons into scrap metal for use in advanced anti-tank mines, so the Helldivers came 78% towards the stated goal of 2 billion. So we didn't get whatever the new stratagem was supposed to be. I didn't even see what that was. So here's what got me with this message, okay? The war now escalates into what is officially being called the Second Galactic War, okay? The first Galactic War was in Helldivers 1. We have just entered into, quote me on this, quote me quoting Baskinator, the Second Galactic War. All conflict leading up to this was merely an elaborate special operation, okay? So hear me out. I'm telling you, they were testing out the Galactic War mechanics, doing some bug testing, getting everything handled up to this point. And now, like, this is when the actual game starts. Like, we've not even started playing the game. This is where the actual game is coming into play. Okay. And this gets me thinking, if this is happening, if this is what's going on here, then do we think the Illuminate or another faction is coming in quickly? I think with all the leaks that have been going on and stuff, I think the Illuminate are coming and coming soon. That's my opinion. They've just worked Cyberstain into this thing, right? Cyberstain was recently worked in a couple weeks ago. The Cyborg faction was stranded on Cyberstain, which we know that the automatons have now taken over. So I think this is a prime setup for the Illuminate coming out or the Cyborgs coming out. But regardless, I think we're getting a new faction super soon. I think we're getting a new faction into the Galactic War soon. Baskinator, same one we just talked about, put a poll out to see what people thought about the Polar Patriots Warbond. Overwhelmingly, people were voting that they didn't like it. I don't even have it. I think it's okay. I don't think everything in it's great, but I do agree up here, and this is actually my vote on this picture. I think it's okay. I do think that if we wanted to do fewer Warbonds and more patches, like quality of life bug fixes, that would be the move. I think that would make a lot of sense. Let's stop worrying so much about cranking out all these items and armors and worry more about like patching what actually needs fixed. I'm afraid that if we keep churning out Warbonds at one a month, it's going to get weapons and new things are going to get stale. Like eventually they're going to run out of ideas for stuff, and trying to balance that entire weapon pool is going to be nearly impossible. So I think eventually, like, we need to slow it down to gotta get a grip on everything. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they can't actually push this content out this much. I don't know. Maybe they can. I don't see it. But I'm fine if they want to reel it in a little bit and let's get some of these bugs patched. That's my personal opinion. So someone had made the comment in Discord, I think we could use less Warbonds and more quality of life updates. Twinbeard says, hi. Yeah, we're aware there's a lot of concern regarding Warbond cadence and us possibly overbalancing and or nerfing too much. We're discussing it a lot internally at the moment. And I think that's pretty promising, because they're obviously aware of like, okay, yeah, maybe we're putting out too many Warbonds and maybe we're absolutely nerfing the weapons into the ground once people get them. And I think that's been a big complaint in the community for a little bit. People are like, I'll find a weapon I really want to use and it gets nerfed into the ground to where I can't use it. And I think it's a fine line. Like, I'm not going to complain too hard here. I think it's really hard to try to get it right. I think there's a fine line between getting the balance right and overbalancing everything to where nothing is fun to use at all. So somebody made a comment on Twitter. They also need to evaluate the place of certain weapons in the weapon sandbox. ARs, for example, have absolutely no place, even if you aren't super meta concerned like me. They hit like modded BB guns and serve zero purpose. And he tagged the CEO. And the CEO said, I agree on assault rifles. Their representation has become diluted. It's always strange in games where rifles are seen as pea shooters rather than the 2K J spitters that they are. And I agree with that. I feel like I don't think there's any AR that's really useful to use in Helldivers. That could just be me, just could be my opinion. I don't think that there's a great one out there. And I'm glad that they're taking a step back and looking at like, okay, maybe we need to start, rather than bringing weapons down to everyone else's level, maybe we should start bringing some of these other weapons up. And I think ARs are in desperate need of an overhaul. That's the update for today, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about this entire situation. I'll see you in the next one.